Here's Johnny. You're gonna need a big approach. Why so serious? Roll out.
I am Iron Man.
This is a tasty burger.
Welcome to the In Session Film Podcast.
Hello and welcome to Chasing the Gold. I am In Session Film Awards editor Shadan Larkey, joined by my Chasing the Gold co-host Erica Richards. If you cannot tell, we're feeling very festive today because we're here to talk about Wicked.
Yeah, obviously I'm wearing my witch hat, acquired from Salem, Massachusetts, obviously. But Shadan, tell people, okay, if you're our audio only listeners, obviously you're not going to see any of this, but you should go to YouTube and check it out just so you can see this. Shadan, please show everyone the hat that you're wearing because it's amazing.
This was a gift from my lovely friend Amy, and it says the wickedly talented Adele Dazeem. And the story
is so good.
I think we were in college, but I know the year that happened, Amy and I were like watching the Oscars together that year. So she was like, I saw this hat and I knew I had to get it for you immediately.
Oh my God.
So then, yeah, it's
So
my
funny.
much beloved piece of Wicked merch. Erica, I have a very important, first of all, let me set the scene for people watching and listening. Erica is going to be on the main pod with JD and Brendan to do a deep dive on all things Wicked. So we're not going to get into as much review in this podcast. We're going to focus primarily on awards prospects. So if you want more of a deep dive, you can check her out there. Of course, we always recommend that podcast for all things, and our goal here is to talk about awards. But Erica, the big question that I wanted to ask you is, you texted me a picture of you at the movie theater and you said, like, I brought all the necessities, and it was your witch's hat and a box of tissues. So my big question is, how far into the box of tissues did you get?
Well, I had a good friend with me too who is also a big Wicked fanatic, and collectively we probably went through, I would say, anywhere from 8 to 10 tissues collectively. So honestly, I think I more so needed the box of tissues for the first film when I went to go see that, because
Interesting.
I felt like I cried so much in the first film, and not really I definitely cried in this one, right? Like, for sure. But I felt like in the first one I cried, well, I was just like so overwhelmed with joy. I think we all remember this, that I cried like in the opening credits just because I was like, oh my God, it's finally happening.
Yeah.
And that experience was just like so emotional for me. And then I also cried during The Wizard and I, because I love that song, but also because like Cynthia Erivo like truly blew me away in the beginning of the film. And then I cried, of course, during the Ozdust ballroom scene, which we've talked about, which in the musical is so silly and so like comedic relief, and then it's so serious and so emotional in the first film. So I bawled my eyes during that. And then, of course, like Defying Gravity, the last like 30 minutes of the first film. So I feel like I like, excuse me, I cried way more often in the first one, where this one, like this film, and again, we won't go too much into it. Like, I'll go into this with the guys, but so much more serious and intense than the first film, obviously.
Yeah.
And all like just like no whimsy at all. Like, it was like, obviously these stories obviously live in the same world, but like they're so different. So much more intense, so much more serious. No whimsy, almost no silliness. I feel like all the silly moments we'd already seen in previews, which is fine with me. Like, I'm trying to think, like Glinda with the bubble, which was really cute and fun when she gets her bubble, which is just like so Glindified, right? Like Ariana's so good at that. But yeah, I mean, obviously For Good, like, is super emotional. And then No Good Deed knocked me on my tush, like blew me away. So good, like so emotional, so overwhelming. I definitely shed a little tear during that, but yeah, I feel like I definitely cried more in the first film, if I'm being honest.
I had an opposite reaction where overall, I think the first film is stronger. I think anyone that knows Wicked knows the first half of the musical is stronger. And I think that's definitely true of the films. But I actually found part 2 more emotionally resonant for me. Like, I felt it more emotional, and like you really felt their friendship in the
Yeah.
second one.
Yeah.
And maybe because I was going to see it with very close friends, but I was like, but yeah, I mean, like the ending, I thought just completely was super emotional.
Yeah.
And I thought, so there's a lot of talk about Ariana Grande. We'll get to that in a quick second. But for me, the MVP of part 2 is Cynthia Erivo.
Oh, absolutely. I
I
mean,
think
she's incredible.
she's incredible. I mean, vocally, but just like the way she emotes, it's
Yeah.
so natural. Like, I never felt like I was watching Cynthia Erivo give a performance. I felt like I was watching Elphaba.
Oh,
I think
100%.
she's
And as much,
remarkable.
yes, I agree. And like as much urgency as Glinda shows, right? Like, which I feel like comes, like Ariana, like comes across so well in that Glinda character, even better than I think like any of the like Broadway renditions of it that I've seen. Like she's so like there's just so much urgency where she wants Elphaba to come back so bad. She wants things to be okay. And I feel like she just did such a good job like portraying that like desperate kind of like yearning and urgency and like being sad when things with her and Fiero don't work out, and like just like the devastation when she's like losing Elphaba. Like, but truly, like you said, Cynthia Erivo, like I'm just in awe of her. And I think like you can't not be in awe of her, right? Like she's incredible.
One of the things that I think of a lot with performances is like, can somebody else play this role? And I think like there's nobody that could have touched what Cynthia did. I like
Absolutely.
Ariana Grande
Yeah.
in this role a lot.
Yes.
I kind of aged out of Nickelodeon or whatever by the time she was on it. So I wasn't familiar with her acting at all before Wicked. I think she's very good. I'm kind of torn on, I don't know, I don't feel as strongly as other people do about her, because I feel like there are times where I feel like I'm watching Ariana Grande and not
Yeah.
Glinda, and like there's
Definitely,
sometimes
I think even her when she's singing "The Girl in the Bubble," it felt like Ariana singing a song, and I didn't really know Ariana. Like I didn't know her at all. I never watched the Nickelodeon show. I didn't know her. I never really seen her in anything. Her like pop, like really popular songs I know of, but like I won't say I necessarily was a fan of hers, but I've always loved her and her Wicked fandom. Like I remember watching the 15-year special that NBC did of Wicked years ago, right?
I remember.
And Ariana singing The Wizard and I in that and being like, oh, she like loves Wicked like I love Wicked, right? Like she's obsessed, like I'm obsessed. And that's why I love that she's a part of this, because I think you can feel her passion for Wicked throughout both films, like how much she loves and cares for this story. I felt like in those moments where she's crying, I feel like it's actually her crying. Like I don't feel like she's acting. But I would agree with you. There's no one else I can imagine as Elphaba than Cynthia Erivo. And that's even saying like, you know, my claim to fame is that I've seen Wicked on Broadway with their original cast, and after seeing the magnificent Adele Dazeem in in Elphaba's role on Broadway. And I'm like a loyalist to that soundtrack. Like I listen to that soundtrack often still. Like I listened to it on my way to the theater last night, just because that soundtrack is just like so nostalgic and like has so many like memories for me. That being said, like no one can touch Cynthia, like you said. Like no one can touch her in this role. And like I also respect and acknowledge that Idina Menzel is the one who made Elphaba what she is, right? But at the same time, like again, Cynthia's just unmatched for me. Like she's so good. She blows you away for sure.
I do think, like I said, there are problems with the second half. We both kind of before the podcast were talking about the pacing, I think, is a little bit off in the beginning. And like in terms of the original songs, I didn't care for them really. Like I thought, especially Girl in the Bubble just felt off.
Yeah. You know what? I left and I was thinking about it last night. Like I was mulling things over, right? And I was thinking, was that necessary? Like, could
Yeah.
both of those scenes get cut out respectively, or could have been done much shorter without the songs? And would I feel the same way about the film? Would I feel different? I think I was not impressed at all by the and when I say not impressed, I mean like the actual song, not like the performance of it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
No Place Like Home. Like I just don't feel like it was necessary, and I feel the same way about The Girl in the Bubble. Like it was fine. My big thing was with musicals is always like, what is it adding to the story, right? Like the music should be adding something to the story, and I think it did that, but I don't know if it's also like, don't change what's already good, and I don't know. I feel I don't know how I feel about the song still. Like is it, and that's what I mean, like does it feel off because we're so like it was so new to the second half of the story? Like obviously it doesn't exist in the play. When Alphaba is on the Yellow Brick Road and like the little underground railroad, if you will, of the Yellow Brick Road, and she sees Dulcibert, I literally gasped in the theater. I was like, oh, like I was like, oh my God, like this is emotional, right? Like I appreciated that part of that story, but again, like the music didn't blow me away in that moment. It felt kind of forced. And then The Girl in the Bubble, it's just like, it was fine. Again, it was fine. Like they're both amazing singers. Like whatever they sing, they could sing the phone book and it'd be beautiful.
Right.
But
It felt
yeah.
very like anticlimactic to me, kind of
Yeah.
like it made it again messed with the pacing of the story where I was like it
Right.
kind of lost momentum during that scene. I
Yeah.
do like I think, and again, I think there are flaws with both films. Like I wouldn't say they're perfect, but I think in terms of like an adaptation, this is like a pretty great adaptation. Like would you, obviously The Wicked, would you agree?
I would absolutely agree. Again, like I've talked about this a lot, and obviously I'll go into this on the main show, but I've always felt like the second half of Wicked on stage it feels so rushed, and I love that this medium of film gives the story the space to like actually build it out instead of it feeling so rushed. I felt like the story still flew by. Like I felt like, and that's why I think about those two scenes and I'm like, could they have been taken out and like it been a like crisper 2-hour film instead of a little bit of like 2 hour and change? Like, would it have made that much difference? I don't know. I do think it's a very well done second half of Wicked because again, the second half of Wicked on stage, it always feels so rushed. It feels like whiplash a little bit. And I feel like I think most people will prefer this over the second half of the stage play. So
I think 1,000%.
Yeah.
I think like what they did with what they had is very good, even if it is flawed. I will say, and again, because I was telling Erica, like I do love Wicked a lot. I don't love it as much as she does. I wouldn't say it's like my top tier favorite musical. So I saw the musical once years and years ago. The Wizard of Oz wasn't really a film that I grew up with. Again, I think I haven't seen it in like 20 years. So there was a part of me that felt a little bit lost in like what happened in the book, what happened in the musical, what happened in The Wizard of Oz. So I would recommend that if you are like me and you're not as caught up, like maybe do a little bit of like a Wikipedia beforehand. I think you would enjoy it more if you kind of were a little bit more caught up. Because I was,
So the only thing I'll say is like, if you know the story of Wicked already, if you've seen it on stage once, like you have or something, definitely go. There's tons of videos out there where it's like, okay, here's a recap of what happened in the first film. Here's where the Wizard of Oz, because like there's overlap in the second half of Wicked, right? With the Wizard of Oz and the second half of Wicked. Like the timelines kind of line up. So if you're not as familiar, like you're definitely going to be like, wait a minute, right? Also, but if you don't know the story of Wicked, don't do that. do it afterwards, because I will tell you, the woman that was sitting next to me, she's definitely never seen the musical like on stage. And last night was her first time seeing it. She was so excited. And then when there's like a very big reveal that happens in the second half, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want, but she was shooketh. Like, she did not see it coming. She gasped, and she audibly, I heard her go, "Oh my God." And I was like, yeah, girl, like, yeah, you forgot about that part, right?
Oh my God.
But I was thinking, like, she's never seen this before. Like, she doesn't know this story. And then that led me to think, like, oh my God, there's all these people that have never seen I've been very fortunate to see the stage play multiple times. And I'm thinking, oh my God, she had to wait a whole year for this. Like,
yeah.
She had to wait a whole year, which is just crazy to like figure out what's going to happen, right? So if you don't know the story and you haven't seen it, wait until after you see it to watch those videos where it explains things. But if you have seen it and you need a little refresher, yes, absolutely, definitely watch those, because it'll help you understand the timeline too of where the second half of Wicked picks up in The Wizard of Oz. So,
yes. Okay, so let's get into Oscar prospects. Okay. So I want to refresh everyone's memory. The first Wicked that came out last year got 10 Oscar nominations. So Best Picture, Best Actress for Cynthia Erivo, Best Supporting Actress for Ariana Grande, Best Editing, Visual Effects, Best Sound, Best Score, Makeup and Hairstyling, Costumes, which it won, and Production Design, which it won. So it won 2 of the 10 nominations. It got a 88% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 73% on Metacritic. As of right now, Wicked 2 is at a 62 on Metacritic and a 72% on Rotten Tomatoes. Obviously, those scores can change, but the critical response is not as strong for the second film in comparison to the first film. I'm just throwing that out there as a temperature check for where we are. So, and by the way, guys, I always have the Oscar predictions on In Session Film updated. I update them religiously. So at any point when you go on the website, and please do that, they are fully updated. So as of right now, this is what I have predicted, and I need you to talk me out of it or talk me into it.
Yes.
Okay, so I have Best Picture, Best Actress, and this is nominations. Best Picture, Best Actress for Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, and Supporting, Editing, Visual Effects, Sound, Makeup, Production Design, Costumes, Casting, which is obviously going to be new. Yes, and then as of right now, I think because Best Original Song, and we can talk about this, other than the songs from Sinners and other than Golden, it's and there's a Diane Warren song, which Diane Warren is sort of always in the mix. It's kind of a weak year. Yeah. So as of right now, I have both of the songs getting in. Yeah. But I am tempted to drop Girl in the Bubble and maybe just pick No Place Like Home. I do think one song is going to, like, I would be completely floored if both songs miss, right? Yeah. Would you agree?
I agree. And not to be this person, but it's like, I feel like part of the reason why these songs even happened in the first place was to get Oscar nominations in that category. You know what I mean? So I agree. I think at least one, but I think both of them honestly will end up there. But the whole thing that's interesting about it too is, right? Because I think you and I talked about this a little bit. I know we've talked about it, but I can't remember if we talked about it on the podcast. But Stephen Schwartz wrote both of them. So if it wins, he's going to win. It's not going to be either Cynthia or Ariana, which is fine. But I felt like that was also maybe part, like originally when we heard there was going to be 2 original songs in this second film, that we thought, oh, this is like maybe a way to try to get one of them an Oscar too. Mm-hmm. But that wouldn't even be the case, which is interesting. So just,
yeah. And allegedly they had started writing the songs before they cast the roles.
Oh,
which is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting.
So, okay. So if I'm correct in my current predictions, that would mean 12 nominations for Wicked Part 2.
Yeah.
Does that seem like inflated to you? Because I do have it missing score. I think score is really packed this year. I don't think it's getting into the score.
I don't. I think that's. I think the call out to the casting is a really great prediction because like this cast is so iconic.
It could potentially miss sound. It could put. I mean, the VFX, in my opinion, were not as great as I would like them to be. Sometimes I was distracted by like I felt I was like, oh, this is so much visual. It like kind of took me out of it at times. So like I could see a world where that misses. Especially like if Wicked Part 2, they're gonna push it like crazy. I mean, those girls have been everywhere, but I don't know.
The
I
marketing
feel
alone is just out of control.
and I mean, they did a whole Wicked thing at the Oscars last year. Like, they're gonna make sure like those songs are gonna be performed. Like, they know how much people love this.
Right.
It's gonna do really well. I mean, that screening that I went to last night it's been a long time since I've been to it, like a screening that packed. And I think that matters. That's part of the narrative.
100%. I really think they're also really pushing like I feel like every interview I hear like Ariana and Cynthia in, it's very much like this is the final chapter, like this is it, we're closing the story, you know, like, and it feels very like final. So I think it's like also holding on to that, like this is it, this is our last, like, you know, it just feels like that's part of the celebration of it, is like this is the end of the story, you know, which I appreciate.
Yeah. So I do think Wicked for Good is going to match the 10 nominations of the first one and probably exceed them. Because like I said, right now I have it in for 12. But here's where it gets complicated, Erica. Because I did move Ariana Grande into my number one spot for supporting actress actually before seeing the film, just based on like buzz and the narrative of it all.
Yeah.
And like I do all the things we talked about, I wanted to talk about them for a reason. Like, yes, it's a bit weaker than the first one. There's a very competitive supporting actress race this year. We have Teyana Taylor in the mix, Inga from Sentimental Value, who I'm absolutely obsessed with. But I just think like I feel like as of right now, I feel good with sticking with her, just because I feel like famously at the Oscars, there's a really strong correlation between musicals and supporting actress. You know, like Catherine Zeta-Jones in Chicago, Ariana DeBose in West Side Story. Like I think having even if the film is quote unquote weaker, she is strong enough, I think, to still win potentially. What do you think about that?
I think you're making amazing points. Again, these women have been everywhere. I just feel like they have such a presence. And Ariana has been so beloved in this role of Glinda that I think she's got the star power and like the power behind the film and the role to carry her into that. I think it's definitely possible. I mean, obviously I haven't seen those other films that you're talking about yet, but it just seems like who else has the pull that she does right now, you know?
Right. Well, and the thing that we need to talk about is she's honestly more of a lead in Wicked Part 2.
Yeah.
Than the first. So there's so much for her to do. Whereas like, in my opinion, Teyana Taylor is the number 2. But like Teyana, she's in the first 20 minutes of that film and then she goes away. So there's just not as much material. There's not as much opportunity for her to make an impression.
Yeah. And think about it too, right? Again, I don't want to discuss too much of the plot and get too into the weeds, but she, like, Glinda has a really big character arc in this second film, right? Like, she really, a lot, again, she's doing a lot in this film and a lot happens. And I think that only gives her even more, you know, power behind what she's doing.
And you know, I did a deep dive episode with Amanda Spears that should be out in a few weeks, where we were talking about actor and actress, but she made this really good point in regards to Adam Sandler, where she was like, if Adam Sandler wins one award and gets on stage and gives like a great speech, that could be the thing that starts. And I feel that way with Ariana. Like, if she were to win the Globe, which as of right now seems likely because the Globes, love their stars, like awarded Lady Gaga for American Horror Story way back in the day before even. So like, I feel like if she gets up there and gives a speech and starts crying and talks about how much Wicked has meant to her, how much her, friendship with Cynthia means to her, that could really be all it takes for her,
Oh, I agree 100%. And I think, like we've talked about, even in their interviews, like they're so emotional in their interviews. Like I can't imagine what it'd be like if she got up and accepted an award.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I do think sentimental value, like I said, it's strong, but I just feel like Wicked feels like such a powerhouse and the kind of film that maybe could overcome middling reviews.
Yeah.
Again,
I just think there's so much fan obsession around it, right? Like you can't scroll on any social media without seeing some type of Wicked related content, some type of Wicked reaction. I mean, it's being shoved down our throats in the best way, for me at least. And I just think that's going to carry all the way through award season. I really do.
And can I just bring up something real quick? Because I'm going to assume that JD and Brendan are not going to bring this up on the main pod, but it's been on my mind a lot, which is the clip of Ariana Grande in Singapore when some stunt, whatever, attention-seeking person who we will not name, kind of rushed the carpet, and Cynthia like physically got involved because the security was, not asleep basically on the job, and like was protecting her, and we saw like. And I just want to say, like, that is so disturbing. As somebody who has, like, followed pop culture and feels very passionately about pop culture my entire life, I was, like, so deeply disturbed by this. Yeah. And I was like, if you wonder why celebrities aren't, don't want to, like, engage, like, take pictures, sign stuff, this is why. It's because, like, there's these creeps out there that ruin it for everybody and take things too far. And
again, not to give this person like, attention, but apparently he's done that a lot of times with a lot of other celebrities. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh yeah, Katy Perry, The Weeknd, like this is like, and I just think it's really like disturbing, and I feel like we've just reached this like entitlement with celebrities or people in general, not just celebrities, right? Where we feel like we're entitled to attention or time or like information. And I just think, like, props to Cynthia Erivo for like defending her friend, but it was just such a disturbing thing of like, these are human beings. Ariana Grande has been through like a lot of trauma in her life. You could tell like she was so triggered by that experience. So I'm just, I think if you create safe spaces for people, they're going to want to engage. Like, clearly they're very passionate about their art, as we've said multiple times on this podcast. So like, treat them well and you will get that in return. So I just wanted to put that out there that like, we can't be doing stuff like that. It was really disturbing. And I hope everyone has a Cynthia Erivo in their lives that would fight for them like that. Because that was,
I know,
like,
she was on it. She was like on top of it. Yeah,
I saw this thing that was like, if Michelle Yeoh wasn't wearing like this crazy gown, she would have like kicked the guy in the face or something.
Truly. Yeah. Which, okay, can we just talk about her really, really quick? I know we want to get on to our next thing, but I love her. I don't think she's obviously that strong in the musical side of the role that she's in, which is fine, but she is so good at playing that like scary, intimidating, like older woman character. Like, I just thought she did really well. Again, this sounds judgy, but I just don't think she's as strong like musically.
No, I completely agree.
She can hold her own. Like, she did fine, but like I thought was really good. Like,
I mean, Michelle Yeoh for me, and I completely agree. Like, whenever there was like the musical moments, I was like, I struggled a little bit. But like when she was just like doing her thing. Otherwise, I was like completely dialed in.
Yes.
And
Yes.
speaking of merch, I have my beloved Jonathan Bailey People magazine, Sexiest Man Alive. I adore Jonathan Bailey. He is like everything to me.
Yeah.
Outside
Yeah.
of like the looks, which like okay, obviously he's gorgeous, but he can literally have chemistry with a tree.
Yeah.
Like anything and anybody, he just shines. And I don't think like, I don't think he's gonna get in or whatever, but I just think like
He's
he is so good.
So good.
Yes. But Erica, this is where like I said, things get complicated in terms of the awards conversation, because I do think that Wicked is, in addition to Ariana, like could very much be in the hunt for a repeat of costumes and production design.
Yeah.
But this is where we need to talk about the other juggernaut that's come out in the last couple weeks, which is Frankenstein. And I remember telling you after seeing Frankenstein at TIFF that I think the narrative of the season is going to be Wicked versus production design in the craft categories. Like I think when it comes to costumes, production design, I think Avatar has visual effects on lock, I'm going to assume, but I think costume design, production design, and hair and makeup, like those films are going to be battling it out. So what did you think of Frankenstein, and what did you think of Frankenstein in terms of these categories, and not having seen Wicked, like where did the chips fall for you?
I watched Frankenstein at home, unfortunately. I really wanted to get to the theater to see it. I still thought it was visually it captivates you for sure, even if you're watching it at home. Like I have a pretty nice sized television, and Tyler and I were talking about while we're watching it, and he's like, wow, like every scene is so cool. And actually his brother had texted him because he had watched it before us and was like, there's just cool stuff on every inch of the screen when you're watching it.
Yeah.
And I would have to agree. Obviously, I'm like biased to Wicked, so I'm going to try to put that aside. But I think the production design in Wicked is better than Frankenstein, if you're asking my opinion. Just because I felt like some stuff in Frankenstein, like, I don't want to say like, okay, there's a lot going on in Frankenstein, right? Okay, how did you feel about the monster, like the way he looked?
Well, okay, so I famously, like, I feel about Frankenstein the way you feel about Wicked. It's my
Okay,
favorite
yeah.
thing in the world. Like,
Yeah.
reading that book changed my life. So,
Yeah.
like, as I mentioned in our TIFF episode, like, my standard for Frankenstein was like so it didn't reach what I wanted it to reach. And I've watched it again and I feel the same way, which is like the first half for me, I was like, this drags so much. Like,
Yep.
I struggled watching it again. I do think I like the creature. I think everything Jacob Elordi does is
Yes.
incredible. I like the creature design. I liked the way it looked. Did it look necessarily the way that I pictured it? No.
Right. Yeah.
But I like the choices.
Yeah, I think he's incredible. I agree with you. I think the first half drags. I think the second half is much stronger. I wish I didn't have a preconceived notion in my head of what I wanted Frankenstein to look like, because I don't think he looked how I wanted him to look, if that makes sense. But I really tried to not, I tried to put like my personal opinion aside, and it's all incredible, right? I think costume wise, yes, I think Mia Goth's character is, her costumes are my favorite.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I don't know if it's just because it's very gray and dark. Not in a bad way, but there was also some moments where you can almost say that the visuals are a little distracting a little bit from what's going on. I don't know if you ever felt that way.
I mean, yeah, I felt that way both for Wicked and Frankenstein, both, where I was like, this is like too much fakeness. That's not, I don't know what other word to use, but yeah, I was like, it's too much is happening.
Yeah. I think it also just did it look a little bit too advanced for like the time it was supposed to be in. Maybe that's what I
Mm-hmm.
was looking for, is like a little bit more like ruggedness, if that's even like the word I want to use. I kept finding myself being like, I'm enjoying this, but like, am I? You know what I mean? I enjoyed the film, and like I can respect it for what it is. It's very well done. You can tell that so much care and like
Mm-hmm.
time and passion went into this project from every aspect of the filmmaking, which I love. Um
Here's the thing, and I
yeah.
think I enjoyed it as much as I did because I was like, I love Frankenstein and I love Del Toro. I think if I was like, if it wasn't called Frankenstein and if it was directed by somebody else, I'd be kind of less enthusiastic about
Yeah.
it because I felt that way about Nosferatu. Like, I'm not as enthusiastic about that character and I'm not as enthusiastic about Eggers. So I was just like, it's fine. I'm like,
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I thought it looked nice, but and I think whereas earlier, like I think Wicked is a very strong adaptation of what it's doing. I don't think Frankenstein is actually a good adaptation of the book, and
Yeah.
that matters to me.
Right.
So that's where I can't separate my biases. But just in terms of like Oscars though, it's very like we don't have very many examples of films that repeat when you have like the sequel coming out the next year, because even Black Panther 2, like it won again for costumes for Ruthie Carter, but it didn't win uh production design twice. So that's why I'm kind of torn with Wicked, because I'm like, is it gonna? I don't know if it's gonna repeat those two again, and then I don't know if they're just gonna split costumes and production design, because I felt the opposite. I thought the costumes in Wicked Part 2 were like incredible. I
Mhm.
really liked the costumes a lot. I think they
Yeah.
did such a good job of like honoring the Wizard of Oz and like sort of
Yes.
what we knew, but
Yeah.
elevating them. I think Paul Taswell, like, he is incredible. He's
Yeah.
very much like Ruthie Carter, just like an iconic
Yeah.
costume designer. I think
I
if
felt
he
like there was way more texture of the Wicked costumes than there was of Frankenstein. Like there was so much like more like textured is the only word I can really think of. It just like it felt like they were wearing their own real clothes, like as those characters. Where I felt like in Frankenstein, it was like this is a costume. Does that make sense?
I think that's completely fair. But I think the production design was opposite for me. I think the production
Mm.
design in Frankenstein felt more like, I don't know, just more intricate, or like, whereas I felt like the Wicked costume product, it was just like so much at times where
Mhm.
I was like, it just felt like they threw everything at the wall because they could,
Yeah.
and it didn't feel as like thought out to me.
Okay.
So like, if I were an awards voter, I would give costumes to Wicked and production design to Frankenstein. But
Okay.
I don't know if they're gonna split them. And I would give makeup to Frankenstein just because I think the creature design is there's so much good outside of even the creature. Like, just I thought the hair and makeup completely blew me
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm truly at a loss for what to do with costumes and production design now, because I
I
feel
know
like
because they both do feel so strong like individually, and then when you try to compare them against each other, it's like challenging because they both feel so strong in
and
their
they're
own
so
respects,
they're
and they're
so
so different. Yeah.
different. Because
Yeah.
yeah, Frankenstein is very like gothic, and then Wicked is very much like colorful and
Yeah.
bright,
Yeah.
and then Frankenstein, like, it's not the costumes, like they obviously there's the book, but there's no really like world necessarily to build off
Right.
of, where Wicked
Right.
is like kind of taking the costumes that we know already. Does that work against it potentially, because the in Wicked Part 1, like, that hasn't as much tie-in for the Wizard of Oz, whereas
Yeah.
like we've seen sort of some version of the Glinda dress before. So I just wonder, like,
Right.
But then the thing is like, as we've talked about many a time with these voting bodies, I don't think they care. Like, I think sometimes they're just like, I like this movie, and they're gonna. So like
They go down the ballot. Yeah.
they go down the ballot. So the question is like, which movie are they going to like more? Like,
I think Wicked has going for it that people love the first one so much, and they're going to carry that love onto the second one, where Frankenstein, like, I think most everyone will see Wicked. I don't think as many people will see Frankenstein. Maybe I'm wrong in that, but I just feel like Wicked is more universally like a thing right now as opposed to Frankenstein. Like, and I just think like culturally, right? Like I said, you can't open up social media without seeing something related, marketing, content, anything related to Wicked, where like Frankenstein, the only people that I know that are really discussing it are like filmy people.
that's true, but I also think one thing that Wicked has working against it is that the expectation is astronomically high.
That's
And
true.
I've seen people being like, "Well, I was a little bit let down," whereas like Frankenstein, I don't think people are going into it. I mean, maybe if you love the book as much as I do, but like I think people are just going into it being like, "Oh, it's an adaptation of Frankenstein. Let's see what they do with this."
Yeah, that's true. That's a
So,
good point.
I don't know. I'm like very torn. I think
Yeah.
what I'm gonna do in terms of my predictions right now is like I said, give costumes to Wicked and but I don't know. I really don't know. I also think the cinematography. So in terms of Frankenstein, I have it right now with 7 nominations. I have picture, supporting actor, cinematography, visual effects, production design, costumes, and makeup. And I think
Okay.
it's
So
an
no
out.
acting. No acting.
Well, supporting actor. I think
Oh,
Jacob
supporting.
Elor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
And then
missed
I think it's an outside possibility for casting and an outside possibility for score because it's Alexander Desplat.
that. Mm.
So, and then I think I think it's definitely winning makeup, and I think might be like a major player for cinematography, like very strong in cinematography, and then like a
Hmm.
costumes and production design. So like
Yeah.
there's a world where Frankenstein ends up winning like 3 to 4 Oscars, and then
Yeah.
Wicked also potentially winning like 3 to 4. So like they're very much in the same like basket. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, yes, because it's getting to be, I'm interested to see the rest of your predictions because it's getting to be that time of year, right? Where I feel like so much is coming out in theaters. It's truly like Oscar season, awards season. Um, and it's like, what is going to be up against these films in those categories, like of makeup and hairstyle and costume? Like, what is going to push the envelope to it? Like,
Well, let me just read you what
yeah,
I have in
yeah.
terms of the rest of the category for like these costumes and production design. And sorry, I'm scrolling
No, go for
on
it.
the in session film. So for cinematography, let me do cinematography. I have One Battle After Another, Sinners, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty
Mm,
Supreme, F1, Train Dreams, The Testament of Anne Lee, Noel Vague, and Jay Kelly. For visual effects, I have Avatar Fire and Ash winning. I have Wicked for Good, F1, Frankenstein. So I think both of them are going to get nominated for that. And then I have Superman
mm,
getting nominated. And then for production design, so I have Frankenstein, Wicked, Sinners. I think those 3 are like locked. And then I have Hamnet because they basically rebuild the entire Globe Theater and they've been pushing the production design pretty hard. And then I have Marty Supreme as my number 5, but then the rest I have Avatar, One Battle After Another, The Testament of Anne Lee, The Phoenician Scheme, and Hedda. And then for costume design, I have Frankenstein, Wicked, Sinners again, Hamnet again, Marty Supreme, Hedda, The Testament of Anne Lee, Kiss of the Spider Woman, One Battle After Another, and The Phoenician Scheme. I think what I'm worried about in terms of my predictions right now is like, and we've seen this happening more and more, but like there's just less films getting nominated and more
right.
films getting really high nomination counts. So I feel like my predictions are very like clustered among not very many films. I just think, and we've talked about this in our last episode, there's not that many films that are breaking through.
Mhm.
So like, you know, Hedda could get a random costume design nomination. I see that kind of thing happening, but I do think like in terms of tech, I think absolutely like Sinners, Frankenstein, Wicked, like for all of the major tech categories, because those really
Mhm.
are the big techie films. Like,
Right.
and
Yeah,
like,
gosh,
yeah,
I still have so much to see. Have you seen all
yeah.
of these?
So I'm gonna try to see Begonia literally
Oh,
tonight,
yeah.
like after we record. So hold
Okay.
your thoughts on that. And then I really want to see Die My Love. I don't think it's gonna be a player necessarily for
Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence, but I still really want to see it.
Yeah, I
And
was
then
trying to think of when this week I could go see it because I wanna see
Yeah,
that too. I'm excited to
Mar
talk about Begonia with you.
Marty Supreme, I haven't seen because I live in Houston, and unless you live in LA and New York, you just don't have access to it. And then Jay Kelly is the other major one that I haven't seen. But like
Yeah, I was
that's not
gonna
gonna
a Marty Supreme was gonna be the other one I asked you because I feel like that is really ramping up.
Yeah, and I think
Um,
that could be a big tech player too, but something like Jay Kelly, I don't think is like, not it's like a talkie movie or
yeah,
like Blue Moon or like Is This Thing On, the Bradley Cooper movie. Like I don't think any
yeah,
of these films are really gonna, or like One Battle After Another. I don't think that's not gonna be in costumes. That's not gonna
no,
be necessarily in production design. So
right.
I think we have three tech juggernauts, and I think they're gonna be like battling it out
Mhm,
for all, because I think like in terms of best original song, also Sinners, I think it could be like a major player there. Because those songs got Grammy nominations,
mhm.
so like that could be something we're underestimating. I mean, Golden is like a powerhouse just in terms of song. I think like especially with the Wicked songs being a bit weaker and there being two
Mm,
of them, I think that
yeah,
that bodes really well for Golden.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, because
yeah.
the Wicked could end up canceling itself out, you know?
Yeah. So, any thoughts about Wicked or Frankenstein that we haven't touched on?
I would like to give Frankenstein another watch. I will say, Shadan, like, we talk about this a lot. It did feel long, and I think it's because of that first, like, part of the story, right? I think the second half is way stronger in Frankenstein than the first half, and like I said, I would like to give it another watch, but then I think about Wicked and I'm like, Wicked, even though it has some pacing issues in the very beginning, still felt like it flew by. It doesn't feel like an over 2 hour film to me. Where I felt every bit of the 2+ hours of Frankenstein.
Mhm.
Um,
A
and I
thousand
also don't
percent.
know if that was because I was watching it at home as well, where there's many more distractions. Um, but I would like to give Frankenstein another watch. And I've never read the book, so you make me want to read. I know Shadan's draws on the floor right now.
Oh my
So
god, I love the book. It means
yeah,
so much to me. Like,
yeah.
oh,
Well,
um,
I will read it.
yeah, I think so. You want to see Frankenstein again? I am gonna go do the Wicked double feature as soon as possible, and I'm gonna go buy because I don't want to have to deal with anyone else's anything. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
by myself. I'm gonna get myself whatever snacks I want to get,
Yes.
sit in my recliner, and just like
Yes.
have the full Wicked experience.
Yeah.
I can't wait to do that.
I already have. So when I got the Amazon Prime early access, yeah, last night, I had
Hmm.
already also bought the just regular AMC early premiere access for Wednesday. So I'm going tomorrow again. And then I just had a friend who's out of town that will be back on Saturday, and she's like, "Can we go see it Saturday?" So I might see it 3 times in the just this week. So I'm excited. I can't wait to watch it again. I can't wait now because it's also when you watch a film like this, and even I feel like Frankenstein, there's so much going on. You have to
Yeah.
really go, whoa, I'm trying to absorb all the things, but it's just impossible to do that, right? So I think a second watch is good for any of these type of films where you can pick up on things that you missed the first time just because it's overwhelming the first time, right? So much story happening, so much to look at.
Hmm.
So yeah, both of these I'm very excited um to see both of them again. I don't see, but the thing is with maybe I should try to find Frankenstein playing somewhere in theaters around here and see if I can go see it in the theater. because I feel like it'd be a different experience.
In terms of what's coming out, I mean, Hamnet, like
Yeah.
the earliest screening
Yeah.
you can find, like run.
Yeah, I definitely will. And you know what else I'm really excited for? This is what I've been excited for even before I found out how much you liked it, that I am seeing now that it's starting to play next week around here is
Eternity.
yes, I'm so
Yeah,
excited for it.
I'm gonna see it again because I've been desperate for my mom to see it, so like I'm taking her to see it.
I was just gonna say I feel like I should take my mom because I feel like Tyler's kind of like about it, and I just feel like my mom would like it. So
well, I think, I mean, take your mom to see Hamnet too. It's like the most mom, and I say that with so much love, but like yeah, I feel like all moms would love Hamnet. Two other things that I wanted to discuss with you while we were on the pod. Okay. First of all, the big news of the week. I don't know if you saw this, Erica, but the Screen Actors Guild Awards have rebranded themselves to the Actor Awards. Did you see this?
No.
Yeah, so they're not going to be called. Yeah, so the trophy, for those of you okay, first of all, it was called the SAG Awards. Then they changed it because there was like, AFTRA merged with SAG, so then it was like the SAG AFTRA Foundation. But the award itself has always been called the Actor, like that's what they call the actual statue. So now they've rebranded the awards to the Actor Awards. Like starting this year, it's called the Actor Awards. It's gonna be on Netflix. Yeah, it's gonna be on Netflix again. I feel about this the way that I feel about Twitter, which is like you can rebrand it. I'm just gonna keep calling it Twitter. But yes, according to them and according to their statement, like calling it the Actor is gonna make it less confusing because they honor the actors, so people are gonna know what the award show is. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I think it sounds like a fake award that they give out in a movie. It doesn't sound real to me, but that's the big like award shakeup is that the SAG Awards are now going to be called the Actor Awards.
Weird. I did not hear about this at all.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna like send you the link, but then I was like, maybe I shouldn't tell her and just tell her on the pod.
Yeah, no, I didn't see this.
The face that you're making 1,000% lets me know that was the correct decision because Erica is just like, huh?
Yeah, like what are we doing? Like, come on, guys. Like, what are we really doing? But
the other thing
that's fine, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Weird.
The other thing is a few nights ago, I swear, okay, so I was like going to sleep and in my weird whatever world that I live in, I was looking at pictures of like A Single Man, like the movie, because I'm obsessed with Tom Ford. I think we've talked about this, but I'm like obsessed with Tom Ford as a brand. Like anything of his that I can afford, I will buy. And then I'm also just obsessed with him as a filmmaker. Like I love A Single Man. I love Nocturnal Animals. So I was literally
we've talked about Nocturnal Animals because I feel like you and I are the only people in the world that are obsessed with that film.
I'm obsessed. Like that movie is my entire personality. I'm obsessed with it. But then so I was like going to sleep and in my like literally I think verbally out loud to myself, I was like, oh, I just wish Tom Ford would make another movie. And then I wake up the next day.
You manifested it.
I literally the next day I opened my phone and it was like Tom Ford announces next feature and it's like going to be the screen acting debut of Adele. So there's new Tom Ford coming. The cast is incredible.
Oh my god, I can't wait.
Aaron Taylor Johnson is going to be in the lead, but this cast is absolutely stacked. But I just wanted to put that out in the world that I should have manifested something better for myself. I should have manifested like
no, I love this. Start here. We can only manifest bigger things. I love it.
Yeah, so we're manifesting Erica's UPS package that she very, very kindly sent me that has been lost. I'm manifesting my UPS package getting to me.
It's going to get to you. It's going to get to you. Yeah.
But yeah, I just had to tell you that I fully like manifested a Tom Ford feature out of nowhere.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. Oh my god.
Yeah. So guys, if there's anything else that you would like us to manifest or you would like to come on this podcast and speak something into existence, we welcome it anytime.
I love it.
Yes. Okay, so Erica and I will be back next week. Erica, any closing thoughts to leave the people with?
I've been changed for good. I hope you have too. Wicked it's like, I can't believe it's finally here. Like, it was like, last year we had to wait a whole year for this one, and this last year flew by, and here we are.
It
And it's like,
really did.
yeah,
For better or worse, it really did.
I
Here
know.
we are.
Yes. So
Yes.
I mean, everyone's gonna see Wicked eventually, right? Go see it, enjoy it, go with your friends, dress up. I wore my witch hat, obviously, at the theater. It was weird because I felt like I was the only one really kind of dressed up, and I didn't even wear my full cape and everything like I wore last year. Like last year when I went, it was also like the very first showing. It was like a 2 p.m. showing, and like hardly anyone was in there, and I was like full like witch costume.
Incredible.
Yeah, but it's just, I mean, like it's also just like fun. The movies are back, it's like that feeling
Yeah.
again every year. Where
It's
you just
fun to
feel like,
have it's fun to have an event, and I mentioned this in our last pod, but there's so much good stuff right now.
yeah,
So like regardless of what you're into, there's something for you to see at the movies.
yeah,
I think Wicked over the past year has kind of become a comfort watch where I'll just like put it on in the background.
yeah,
So like, even if you can't get to the theater, like you'll still enjoy seeing it at home, but
right.
like
Whenever
obviously
you do, yeah,
we definitely recommend going to the movies. My theater, we did what we did, which was like just a lot of green, a lot of pink, and a lot of black.
yeah.
Yeah. Interesting though, one more tidbit, Erica, that I'll leave you with. So I went and saw Wicked with two other close friends of mine. And one of my friends, like, I turned to her at the end and I was like, I really didn't like the cinematography. I thought it was like dark at times or whatever. And she turned to me and she goes, that was the only thing I liked about the movie. Like,
That's so funny.
it didn't work for her at all. Like, she didn't vibe with it at all. And then I was sort of like in the middle where I really liked some things and I didn't like some things. So I was like very kind of a little bit torn on it, like mixed positive, I would say.
Right.
And then my other friend that I went with like loved it and like sobbed through the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like as the movie comes out and more people see it, like where they fall.
Interesting.
So that's something that I'm gonna be watching for is like how much are people.
I know we're wrapping up, but I have a million questions. But all I will ask is your friend that didn't like it, that didn't work for her, has she seen the stage play?
I don't think so, but she really did. She
Okay.
liked the first part a lot, and she is like
Okay.
a musical fan.
Yeah.
A lot.
Well,
Yeah.
again, it's that thing of where I feel like the second part is so different than the first.
It's
Like,
so different, yeah. The
but
other thing
yeah.
Yeah, the other thing that I always think of with musicals is like if you're not a musical fan, are you going to enjoy it?
Yep.
Because like my mom is not a musical fan. Like even like we went to see Wicked together the one time that I
Yep.
saw it, and she like liked it, but she didn't love it the way that I did,
Yeah.
But then she really liked the first movie like a lot. So I'm curious, like for her to come back and whether how she feels about it, because I think just how you feel about musicals in general obviously is going to color your experience. Because there's
Right.
some movies, like to me, West Side Story, like even if you're not a musical fan, that's kind of a musical that like everyone can enjoy.
Sure. Yeah.
Whereas like something like I don't know, Cats or something, like you really got to be in, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm
Yes.
yeah.
There are certain like levels of it, right?
Yeah. I do think Wicked though is like I don't think you have to be a huge musical junkie to love it. I think because
Right.
there's just so much. The performances are so good. The
Yeah.
visuals are so good that like even if you're like, man, why are these people singing? Like there's enough that will carry you through.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Well, I think just our overall message is go see Wicked for good and go see Frankenstein or watch it at home on Netflix and let us know what you think. And do you think it's going to be part of the awards conversation? I think these two are obvious ones that, are going to be included, but tell us what you think.
Juggernauts. Erica, where can people follow you on the World Wide Web?
At eRock Reviews on Twitter, at eRock114 on Instagram. You can also follow my business, Salt Air Events, on Instagram to see me doing all my wedding planning and events planning things. What about you, Sean? Where can people follow you?
Well, first of all, Erica's Instagram is very fun. As I mentioned, I haven't been on my Instagram as much, but sometimes I'll just open it and I'll like click on your thing and then I'll close it. But I am at Shadan Larkey everywhere. I just wanted to, again, please guys, follow In Session Film everywhere that you can find us. That really helps tinier outlets share the reviews. There's so much incredible writing. Obviously there's incredible podcasts that you can find in this very feed, but the writing is incredible. Please share. We've got interviews coming out. All the support you can give us this award season would just mean the world to us. Rate and review the podcast. Share it all over the place. And just a big thank you to JD, everyone at In Session. I think chasing the gold has changed me for good.
Yes.
Erica, your friendship has changed me for good. But yeah, that's
Yes.
a wrap, and we will see you next time.
Bye.